That was quick. Thank you very much.
Welcome. My name is Carmel Snape and I'm the Creative Director and Programmer here at Depot. So this is part of the Japan Film Festival. It's the very last day. After this workshop, we've got a film called Bushido, which is a classic Japanese Jidai, so like a historical story. And when I was looking at programming the festival and I came across that film, I thought, Go! I've had this Go game in my cupboard for over 10 years. I've got no idea how to play it. Hurrah! A link. I've got it for today, but it's something that I'm already play. So next thing to do is then, is there anybody playing Go in this area? So hurrah again for Google. That took me to Felix straight away. And so under an email, and we make contacts and say, yeah, I'm up for it. I'll run you a workshop. And so here he is. And they brought lots of exciting boards and beautiful they are counter holders, and there are words for these counters that I'm not aware of yet. So Felix is going to introduce the game, and then we've got I think about an hour and a half to play.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah. Feel free to stay for the whole session, or as long as you want. If you want to go get the drinks, that's fine as well, and come fast. I've no idea how long a game takes. I think most of us are in the same boat. We're quite new to the game. Yeah, that's fantastic. So, over to Felix.
Well, thank you, Donald. It's amazing how many people have turned up. Thank you very much for coming along, and thank you, Garland, for putting it all together. My name's Felix. I started playing Go like 2005, I think. I never got incredibly good or anything. These guys all over here are all better than me. You got Connor on the left, and then Yogi in the middle, and John on the right. Please, at any point during the session, you're welcome to engage in the conversation, ask questions. Connor's going to be doing a little problem kind of corner over there with little puzzles and things later on. So you'll be free to choose to play against each other, or to go and talk, or to do some problems over there. My main vocation is ultimate frisbee. And funnily enough, the strategical things that I've learned from Go I've taken to ultimate frisbee, and I'm actually revolutionizing global ultimate frisbee. If you search my name, they'll say I'm a strategical revolutionist. And a lot of it comes from Go, which is kind of a deep strategy game. Very simple rules to learn, endless complexity from them. So the order of play today will be what's Go, a brief history of it, basic rules and gameplay, a bit more strategy and tactics. There's a fun fact now, but some proverbs. I'll probably leave the proverbs up on the screen because there's not enough time to kind of explain what all of them mean. But that'd be a good thing to chat to people about if one catches your eye. Then we got the interactive session, which should hopefully be an hour and a half, probably be a little bit less than that, because you know how presentations go. Okay, so what is Go? It's a territory board game from ancient China. I first learned about Go by watching films. Like Pi was the first one where it came up, and has anyone seen Pi? Remember it? Yeah, and like the way that they describe almost every film that has Go in, they end up describing the game of it, because it's like tempting to kind of dive into that. It's quite interesting. And so in Pi, they were using it to represent situations in the film and in the person's mind who is the lead character. And yeah, I was fascinated by it. And then A Beautiful Mind as well. Anyone seen A Beautiful Mind? It comes with that. Not so well represented in that. He says at one point, I played the perfect game, I shouldn't have lost. But one of the things that goes, you can't play the perfect game, not even the artificial intelligence has mastered it. Yeah, it's not solved. And he gets mad, he flips the board over, it's very uncool. More recently, a film called Knives Out. I don't know how popular that is. Anyone seen that? It's quite big in that. Very well represented in Knives Out. The way she talked about, sometimes it's not about the battle, it's about making kind of a good shape. We're making like a peaceful home yourself, and then actually you build under the degree. And then more recently, and a lot of interest in Go recently from AlphaGo. So this was in 2015. DeepSeek, Google AI tackled Go after tackling lots of other games. After chess was solved in around 2000 or something, It took up to 2015 for a good AI, well, for an AI to beat a good human player. Okay, and even then it was like, well, you know, human player might still get better. But, you know, obviously since 2015, AI is advanced and advanced. So even though like it's not a solved game, the computers are now better than humans at it. And humans actually learn things from the style that the computer plays, you know, and it's quite difficult. You have to kind of read into the meaning behind the moves, and yeah, it's kind of very interesting in that kind of way. Yeah, that's prompted a lot of interest recently in Go. And yeah, more on that later. So yeah, it's incredibly easy to learn games. So you have like 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds playing it. There are probably hundreds of 6-year-olds, thousands in Asia who are better than me, for example. Because yeah, just learn it very quickly, and then the brain is able to then like figure out the fence of the front year. The rules are very, very simple. Because the rules are very simple, it's a game on balance, and the end of the game is scored by like territory, and so it's quite a kind of natural path through the game, which reflects a lot of things in life as well. So yeah, the way that it's such a balanced game, the tactics you have to employ with, you know, not loading all your eggs in one basket, you know, and faking one way, attacking the other way, or like distributing yourself, staying connected, all these kind of principles that are good in Go, a lot of Go players find are good in life as well. So people use it as a guideline for life in a lot of ways. And it's influenced military strategy. In Japan, players had to be very good Go players in order to be in command of troops. It was, you know, the generals in the army that would always just play Go as their favorite pastime, because yeah, the lessons on the board apply to real life, especially in military and situations. And it's actually driven the advancements in artificial intelligence, because AI couldn't number crunch it. You know, it couldn't do it by brute force. It had to actually take a step back and look at the board and be a bit more creative, and a bit less kind of mechanical with it. Then they had to then, you know, approach solving the game with AI in a different way, and that led to then advancements in AI at a crucial time. And I remember when AI beat humans at Go, I was like, oh, this is, you know, the dawn of AI basically now, because it's gone past a certain level here. Okay, this is all messed up, but that looks okay. So we'll carry on. Yeah, developed over 4,000 years ago in China. Obviously, there's no definitive starting date, but it's around that. Generally accepted. Yeah, being in the military in China, as I said, in the Asian world, it's a massive game, right? Like, they have tons of tournaments, huge prize money, millions of players. Less so in the Western world, but that's kind of increasing. It's totally a representation of balance. Bushido, the film we're going to watch, means literally military night ways. So the ways in which fighting nobles should observe in their daily life as well as in their vocation. Yeah, and what I said earlier about, you know, you can't brute force mechanical it. Go uses both sides of the brain, because, you know, you've got the intuition and the creative side, and then you've got the logical and mathematical side, and the intuition is used a lot more in the bigger kind of board positions, and then towards the end of the game you get more kind of mathematical on it. On the smaller boards, we're a little bit more on the kind of calculating kind of side rather than the intuition side. But we've got big boards as well that, you know, you might want to play a little bit with. And it's interesting that it's like the oldest board game that's played by the current rule set, which was actually the last game that got solved by AI, right? And also, like, yeah, one of the simplest games that there is. Yeah, between the beginning and the end of the game, there's this whole universe of possibilities. Yeah, played by millions in Asia. This is the player losing to AlphaGo over there. His head on the table at some point as well. So it was quite a dramatic moment, really. I watched it live at like 4 a.m. Okay, so onto the basic rules and gameplay. Black plays first, alternate turns, placing one stone at a time in intersections, and stones remain on the board unless they're captured. Alright, what does being captured mean? Stones or groups. Groups are just stones that are kind of next to each other, kind of connected. They're captured when they're completely surrounded and with no empty adjacent points. So let me just get a board up. Not that one, this one. Yeah. Okay. So if I go back here. So yeah, you take turns playing. So black might play, white might play. Oh, that's nice. And then got the sounds. Black might play. If white were to play here, that would be a group of 2 stones. Okay. For now, I'm just going to discard this white stone over here. Okay, just because we're going to demonstrate what capturing is. So this white stone here can be said to have 2 liberties. Okay, the 2 spaces that it's connected to. These 2 spaces are filled by black. Okay, so it's got 2 liberties remaining. Now it only has 1 liberty remaining, right? Which puts it in a state called Atari. Okay, Atari is we know that as a computer type, I guess. It was originally a Go term. The creator of Atari played Go, used the word Atari to name his computer. So this white stone is in Atari, in the state of Atari. It can be captured by its last liberty being taken by black. Okay, so now it gets removed from the board. Okay, now what if white, instead of playing some other move, played over here? Okay, now that group has 3 liberties again. Okay, so now it becomes much harder for black to surround it, because black will start trying to surround, and white has to throw away even more moves for black to actually be able to capture that group. Okay. That's like the main rule. Then there's some illegal moves. So you can't place a stone with no liberties unless it immediately captures opponent's stones. So if we set up this situation, discard some stones down here. Oh, let's do this and then this. Okay, so in this situation, this black stone is in Atari. Okay, so normally the white stone wouldn't be allowed to play somewhere where it is surrounded already. Okay, can't play a suicide move. But because it's taking the black stone, it is allowed to do that. All right. So boom, it goes there, and now it's taken. Okay. Now we come to essentially the last rule. If black could do the same, then you're in an endless loop. Okay. So the co-rule is that you're not allowed to play back. You're not allowed to tag a butcher. You're not allowed to repeat the exact same board position. Not sure what the exact wording of it is, but you can't go back and forth like that. Okay. So black would need to then play somewhere else. Okay. And then when it's white's turn, white can choose to play in the middle, which isn't capture, because it's just making a big weirdly shaped group. Okay. Or if white needs to respond to black, because black's made like a threat or something, so white needs to respond to it. Now black has the opportunity to take back. Okay. All right. So white's turn. White can't take. Yeah, I'll go through it again.
In between.
Yeah. So white can't take this back here now because black's taken it. So white plays somewhere else. Black can either fill in or it can respond to the other move. And now it's white's turn again. And because that wasn't the last move just there, white is now able to take that piece. Okay? And capture it back.
Where are these pieces going?
They go in the lids. So you see, you've all got some pots and stones. The lids are upturned, and they become the
kind of enemy.
So one area stones. Sorry, we won't use the lids directly because they're showing stones. Oh, that's what I think. We won't use the lids directly, but normally they go. But they just go off the board in your little pile because.
If the suicide made it onto a now, is there an advantage to doing this? So it's not. So yeah, you can take stones by playing into position. So let me set up another example, which might be a little bit easier. Let's get out of Zen mode. Nice. Okay, so say white has
a nice group like this, okay, and then black is all around the edge here, okay. Now in this situation, what do we think? Do we think black can play in there or not?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Because it's a suicide move, but you're taking stones. Okay. Because it's the last remaining liberty of all those stones. Okay. But that liberty's in the middle.
But white could be here.
White could not play there. Correct. And good and pertinent point. White cannot play here because that would be suicide without taking any stones. Okay. So
That's suicide because of the black on the outside.
yeah. So these diagonals don't count. Okay. The liberties have to be directly horizontally or vertically connected. And so the only liberty white has is in the middle here. So white can't play there because then it has 0 liberties. Can't exist. Okay.
Is it called a suicide? Is it technically called a suicide? You know, symbolic.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. But it's not a move that's played. So
No.
it doesn't.
It's terminology because he's.
I think so, yeah, or self-capture. I think more recently it's been called self-capture, but when I ran it through ChatGPT, it changed it to suicide move. So definitely suicide moves generally accepted somewhere in the world. Okay, so a while ago I finished explaining all the rules, and everything is now just going to be like what spawns from those rules. Okay, and this is where the entire universe of Go just breaks open. So yeah, we've learned about self-capture, is that right? Yeah. The co-rule. Now the objective and the ending of the game, this is often overlooked and left out. It's a territory game, okay? So although we're learning about capturing prisoners, each prisoner counts for 1 point at the end of the game, and each territory point, so each intersection that's empty, that's inside your territory, that counts for 1 point as well, okay? And normally the territory is the big number, right? So primarily it's a territory-based game, okay? It's just whilst you're getting that territory, then you get in battles and some stones gets captured, okay? Going to the like wider scale of strategy in Go, on the 19 by 19, there'll be several battles across the board, and the aim isn't to like win all the individual battles, but it's to have a result from the battles which mean that you win the war, okay? And that on the 19 by 19 board, there's a lot of things going on at the same time, and they all interact in strange, interesting ways. On the 13 by 13 board, you know, you maybe have 4 or 5 or 6 battles. On the 9 by 9 board, which is in front of you, it's quite small. You're going to be basically forced into 1 or 2 battles on that board, which will then determine the outcome of the game. Okay? The game ends by mutual agreement when no beneficial moves remain. And at the end of the game, it's detrimental to your score to play inside your own territory. Okay? So quite often with beginners, when it gets towards the end of the game, they start, you know, being confused about it, slowing down, not sure whether they should move and stuff. So I'm going to try and like talk about that quickly. Now we've got a couple of demos in the video. So 152 and 030. Let me just find this video. 152 says 152. Okay, so here we have the end of the game. That's the last move that's been played. All right. So there's nowhere useful for white to play. Okay, these stones here only have these 3 liberties, and those 3 liberties are kind of surrounded by black. All right. So basically, both players agree that these 3 are essentially not saving. Yes.
How do you count the score at the end of the game?
You count the individual points. Okay. So what's going to happen is they're going to remove these 3 stones and actually put them into here. Okay, because I haven't explained that very well. These count as prisoners, all right, for black, all right, and these count as points to white. So these are points to black, these are points to white. So they move them into there to make the scoring a bit quicker, make it easier, right? They find the difference between the scores rather than the total score. If that makes sense. Okay, so those 3. Basically, because both players have agreed that they are, all right. It'd be very, very difficult, if not impossible, for these stones to actually survive and and like take any other stones. Okay, whereas black can easily take these by playing 3. Okay, but the game doesn't require you to kind of finish them off. It's kind of you come to an agreement like, oh yes, they're definitely not savable. So it makes no difference essentially whether black plays here and takes them or whether it doesn't. It does.
I think I was there when Pikachu when I say something on what I would have to play stones as well, which to use it for points because they're in prison.
Yes, if
does that help? I would.
yeah,
If black places a stone and white gets the star, then it's CP but
yeah. So if they keep playing, then
because I'm conquering by caster.
yes. So yes, this is dead pass. Yeah, exactly. So if white agrees, okay, well, you can't save these. I don't need to play in my territory here. I'm playing and they would take away the point. And then white would pass, right? And then black looking at the board would be like, okay, black doesn't have any dead groups. Doesn't need to play around here because, both players in the really white's passed. Doesn't want to play in their own territory. So black would then pass as well. And then you go into the scoring phase, okay? So I think they do a quick...
Sorry, but
Yeah.
I was black.
You got
Take those 3 points.
that were there.
But players agrees that those stuffs are dead and they just go to the board at the end.
The whites for that.
Because black is not filling their own territory.
They already count as black points, though. They don't get taken off and put back in the pot. Say these are prisoners of black.
They effectively are 2 black points each. Got stuns because they cut this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Why is it an advantage for white to agree to do that? Whereas if white just passed, it would force black to play 1, 2, 3 around it and capture those 3. Then that'd be 3 fewer.
so you're saying white could pass and just say no, they're alive, right?
Not agree.
Yeah, not agree. What would in that situation?
I think black would have to play, but I think that's one of them you wouldn't get away with.
If you pass in that situation, you have to give a stunt to black.
Oh,
It says a cost.
oh yeah, that's the original rules, isn't it? You pass a stone, right? Okay.
It's worked out the same. We did give us bans for now. We mix black plays and moves to capture. Now you, as out of board, should prepare to capture. And if you give him another stone, you actually take.
Yeah. Is that actually where pass?
If he takes full success, they are like that. It's worth 2 points more for black, because it would be otherwise. Because he doesn't want to present his very code.
Yeah.
This.
Okay.
Please.
So if you're playing, strictly by the rules, on the pass, you actually pass a stone across, so you give them a point for your pass. Okay? Does that help?
Say why does black not want to play his own territory?
Because at the end of the game, these territory points count as points for black, right? You get
Empty ones.
you get 1 point for every empty point, but then for these also prisoners, so you get 3 points for these. Same you get points for the spaces that they were on.
Okay, whereas if they were black, you wouldn't get it.
No. Like, so, for example, these two, they're not points for black, right? It's the spaces around. So
This is a generally disadvantaged for election.
Points.
yes, we'll get to the edges of interest, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, so like I'm just a little bit unsure about the bottom of the board there. He's flat up white's territory of 4 points, 5 points even, or is that surrounded by black? So therefore, all of those pieces are inside us.
Yeah, good question. Yes, we'll get to that probably on the next slide as well. This is an untapeable group because it has more than one eye. Okay, so we'll keep it moving on.
Yeah.
I know there may still be some questions regarding the scoring. I've got those questions for 15 minutes. Yogi just answered. Oh no. I did plug it in, I just didn't turn it on.
How about this?
Yes. Okay, we got power. That's
It's good. He's saying, I hope we won't create medicine inside there, something. Yeah.
But
The answer to okay, it's not very great.
okay. Very timely question. So now we'll talk about those are all the rules. Like, for all the done. But then these things that extend from the rules, which will hopefully just open up a little bit of like an insight into the depth of the game. So first off, two eyes. So you're asking about why that group at the bottom, he was surrounded by black, but why wasn't it there for blacks? But it would be impossible for black to fill up all the liberties of that group. Okay, so let's go back to this situation, or something similar to it. Let's see what I've got over here. Like that. I just did this morning. Where are we at here? Oh, yeah. Okay. So in this situation here, okay, this black group is invincible, correct? Even though it's surrounded by white, white is not allowed to play here because of the suicide move. They feel he's not taking these stones without this liberty. Alright? And then white is also not allowed to play here because they have listed. And they can't play at both at the same time. Okay? So therefore this black group cannot be killed. Okay? So achieving two eyes. These eyes don't have to be like, super, one thing defined. Like we saw in the video, a lot of these groups, they have two eyes, but they're, this one has three eyes, and it's like, this is one eye here, one there. This back group here is massive, and it has one eye here. This actually isn't an eye because white could play there and take it, so that doesn't happen to the eyes. But yeah, it has one eye here, and then this is the eye, and then we like to have the eyes as a curve, stuck in eyes. So this white group over here, white, two eyes. Sorry, I keep touching the screen. Then 3, 4 eyes. Okay. So yeah, if you have two eyes, you become invincible, right? Unless you fill them in yourself. So in this situation, yeah, white can't go there, but if black went there, right? Terrible. Okay, and now white can just go there and take. Okay. If this happens and you lose a big group of stones, it can be tempted to like try and play back in the middle, but really it's a fool's errand. There's no way you can go here, right? Yeah, because of the support white has around, you're just gonna end up losing more stones, essentially. Okay, so that's two eyes. Ladders. Let's try and find the branch with ladder. Is this it? Is it? Oh, I don't like it. This one. Okay. Alright, so this situation here, I should have put that up with top, shouldn't I? I don't know if I can move it up. Can I move it up? Can I flip the board? Okay, that's fine. Alright, so this situation here, white, black. This white stone here was now being played to Atari, alright, with this black move here. So it has one liberty over here, okay? Do we think this white stone can survive or not? Who thinks it can survive? Who's go?
Is it white?
It's white's go. So you think it can survive, but who thinks that black is doomed? You'll do it. The three in the back. Okay, so white. I don't need to be crazy with you. White would obviously want to go here, okay? And then that gives it two liberties, all right? But then the next move that black plays will affect whether then it's going to have one or three after the next, okay? So where do you think black should play? Alongside or up above? Inside. Yes, very good. If it went up above, then white extends out here and it's got three liberties. Again, so then black is not able to put it into Atari. Okay, so instead black plays alongside. Okay, now white only has one option. Alright, it has to play up if it wants to try and run away. And now black can stunt it again. Okay, and then you're in a repeating pattern. Okay, as you go like this is called a ladder. And how does it end? Badly for white.
It's different. But it's not allowed if it's repeating.
It's not repeating the same board position. It's just a pattern that's going across.
So this is something that you should recognize and then just get out of.
Yeah.
If you're white.
Yeah. So we'll follow it to the end. like this, and then once it hits the sides are a lack of liberties. So if you end up running to the side, you'll often get killed. Okay, and then boom, all of them gone. Yeah. And it could be done a little bit earlier over here. Black can actually use that side a bit earlier, and then there's no escape. Okay, if white tried to like break out, because it's tempting here, you know, double Atari, right? Put this black stone Atari and this black stone Atari. You know, if black tries to save one of them, then you can take the other one. You know, good times. But black's not going to try and save them. Black will just take them. Okay. So what can white do in this situation? I mean, let's say we're here, which is a little bit further on than you want to be as white when you're trying to defend against this. If white were to play, we might as well actually go back a few. So black goes there. If white were to play further down the line, yeah, like over here, well, that's called a ladder breaker. Okay, so then as the ladder happens, it's going to lead towards the white stone, which is going to be good for white. Okay, so maybe we can play that out and see how that works. Oh. So the ladder breaker could be ignored, but then white gets a second move. Okay, but let's say the ladder breaker is something that, you know, black needs to defend against up there. That actually might make it confusing. Okay, so then we follow the ladder, and then when white then meets its own stone, it has 3 liberties. There's nothing black can do. White can escape. You know, and not even that, white would probably then play the double Atari, and then black has to try and protect, and white's doing all kinds of nasty stuff. Okay. Okay, that's the ladder. Any quick questions about ladder? No snapbacks.
It's looking very easy, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, so in this situation, it's white's turn. All right, we have this stone in Atari. Okay, so the obvious move is to take the stone that's in Atari. Okay, but by doing so, can anyone see what problem we're going to encounter?
Yeah.
Lost.
It's not 2 eyes, no.
Your own stone.
So now those 3 white stones only have that 1 liberty. Okay, which means that black can actually play in that liberty and take those 3 stones. All right. So this is not governed. This is not the co rule, because the co is about repeating the exact same board position. This one is not the same board position. Okay, because it goes from here to there, and then to there. Okay. These are just nice little quirks that kind of come from the basic rules. Right. Sente. Sente is more of a theoretical thing. It's the initiative. So you want to hold Sente, you want to keep Sente, you want to make good use of Sente, so you keep holding Sente. It's taking the initiative. So on an empty board, you play somewhere, the opponent responds to it. It's good to play in places where your opponent needs to respond. Okay, because if you play somewhere and they don't need to respond, they'll find something more important on the board. They'll play that important place, and then you're responding to that. Okay, so it's essentially like controlling the game and the flow of it and the timing and everything by holding the initiative, maintaining Sente. Okay? And you can have little sequences where, this is a good sequence because it ends in Sente for me. Right? Once the exchange is happening. Or the alternative is it ends in Gote. Gote is the opposite of Sente. And you play a series of moves, and then actually you lose Sente because you have to play the last move to protect your pieces, and then they get the opportunity to play elsewhere and take the initiative, essentially. Okay? Don't let the other player dictate too much. If they start playing unimportant moves with Sente, then you should take the initiative and you should start a fight somewhere else. Okay? Basic strategy tips: connecting your stones into strong groups. We saw how 2 stones together have so many more liberties than just 1. If you have 2 groups, then connecting them together, they're so more likely to have 2 eyes. A lot of strength comes from connections. Prioritizing corners and edges early in the game. This is a funny one here because you don't want to run to the edge because you get crushed against it. But at the same time, it's easier to make eyes on the edges and in the corners than it is in the middle. Right? It requires less stones. Let me demonstrate this. And this is just a demonstration. You don't want to play like this in the game like you don't want to start playing along the edge like that, right? Because that your opponent will take the whole rest of the board. But on this edge situation here, you can make two eyes. That shape has got two eyes. Okay, so even if white is all along the edge here, this black group is unkillable. Okay, why am I doing it at the bottom again? Sorry, just do it up here. Okay, and that's only with 6 stones. It's unkillable. There are other formations you can do in the corner. Whereas on the side, you need an extra stone or 2, right? So more stones needed. But then in the middle, you need like so many more stones to have the same kind of solid 2 eyes, right? So the corners and the sides kind of save you those extra stones. It's easier to make territory in the corners and the sides. Okay, but if you're too close to the corner or the side, you get crushed against them and trapped. All right. Common mistakes. Oh, I just demonstrated that. Over concentrating your stones. That's where we just try to get that little bit of territory in the corner, and whilst you're doing that, the other player dots their players, their stones around the board, and gets all the rest of the territory on the board. Ignoring the balance between attack and defense. You know, if you're generally a more cautious person, you might be playing too defensive, and your opponent might actually leave a lot of, holes, whilst they stay on the attack. And if you can have that kind of attack defense mindset, keep that balance right, then he can exploit those unbalanced things in the opponent. Allowing your groups to become trapped at the edges. So a very simple kind of demonstration of that is similar to the ladder. If you get into a fight near the side, and say white goes here, I don't know if this is going to be a very good example, then black is getting forced to the side. This is going to be complicated, because then black can go here and white needs to, it gets complicated very quickly, you can see. But might want to go there. This is not a good example, I'm sorry. I think I started it too far away from the edge. So maybe something like this. Now white's in trouble, basically. If white tried to save this, then it's going to die, because black could go there, and now it only has 1 liberty like that, right? So basically, like this second line, you can't really run away to the side from there. For the third, you might be able to, depending on the surrounding stones. But you can get easily trapped on the side. Be careful of that. Okay. Fun facts, anecdotes. Number of possible positions on the board is far greater than the number of atoms in the universe. 19 by 19, just like anything can happen. No two go into the same by a long way. It's not close, though. The traditional go boards are made from rare Kyle wood. You can buy them for like tens of thousands of pounds online. Like they're like little tables. They have their own little feet and everything. We have some stones, don't we? Maybe demonstrate those. Show the clamshell and slate stones. Not much to see. They're just little black and white circles. But the top kind of white stones are made from clamshell, and the black stones are made from slate. And we have one set of them. They cost hundreds of pounds. A set of stones like that. I mean, see those? He's white on the
If I have very good things in that.
How about the grain to them? Maybe you can see it up against there, and like they'll see a little bit. They have like these lines kind of like across. You see that? And just no. Who's gonna get them?
They should us it's open.
But I thought I'd bring some nice ones. I said earlier about Go equally engaging the intuition side of the brain, the creative and the logical, the calculative. Tens of millions of people play Go in Asia. The ranking system, they have like dedicated Go schools and academies and things all over Asia as well. Imagine that, like the school would have still learned this game and like every day. You have rankings from 30Q. If you're a beginner, you're 30Q. You get better and better. Become 5Q. I think I'm around 6Q. I think Connor and John are around 4Q, and Yogi might be 3Q or around those kind of areas. Yogi actually reached up to 2 Dan, I think, at one point, right? From the time, yeah. Was quite exciting. So after you get to 1Q, then you go to Showdown, 1 Dan, then 2 Dan, 3 Dan, up to 9 Dan. Professionals are usually, 5, 6 Dan at least, right? No, I'm not entirely sure. There's like a professional Dan. I don't know how like a P up. Yeah, I don't know why it's P. Is there still a Dan? I don't know. In 2024, the top prize that it go to was £200,000. It's huge. It's huge in Asia. And it's all the TV and stuff in Asia as well. And military leaders used to use Go as strategic mental training.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, question.
So this is 9 and there's a 13 and a 19. When would you use what? How long does a game last?
It depends a lot on like how quickly people move. So I've played 19 by 19 games the last 4 hours before because I'm quite a slow player, but you can do them in like 45 minutes or an hour if you're quick.
Oh, it's like chess. It can last days.
Yeah. Yogi plays games which have 45-day limits. Isn't that right? Yeah.
And so you're playing badminton, and I need to move, you move, and the dial. So it takes about 3 months. But that's some approach.
We won't be in this room for 3 months.
I go to play a game off gut. Would you automatically put out a 19 by 19? What would be the sort of standard?
19 by 19 is the standards. 9 by 9 is to learn the game and to be able to play a game in 10, 15 minutes.
Each players also playing on.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's definitely not like just a proper game, right? 19 by 19 is like the standard.
Is so a clock to be used as in chess?
Yeah. We have Go clocks, particular time systems as well. I think Yogi bought a couple of clocks as well.
Sick.
I like proverbs. I used proverbs a lot when I was learning to kind of guide my moves. They're more like kind of principles rather than rules, It would be nice to try and explain these, but I'll touch on a few.
Does maybe?
I think we want to answer things.
Yeah.
Until you find put minutes.
Yes. Okay. It's been 45 minutes already. Okay. So, just before I say what we're going to do next, Brighton Go Club runs every week at the Grays Pub, Wednesdays, 6:30. Welcome to everybody to come along. We've got these 2 or 3 tables booked for this Wednesday in case we have more people come along. Yeah, take a photo if you want to like save the details. You can see what it has a bunch. It's a lovely time. Love that. They serve food there. They've got real ale, craft beers, outside areas, or you can play online, online-go.com, and that has like some beginner kind of areas and stuff. You can like do simple puzzles and stuff, or you can just play really quick games. So for the interactive session, you can either just immediately like start playing against the person opposite you. That's right. If at any point, or if immediately, or at any point, you'd like to see some problems, like you have in the newspaper where you have those little, puzzles, then Connor's got problem corner over there, where he's got a lot of little things set up that you can then go and like have a look at.
How do you choose who's black?
How it's with which colour is it picks up down for the stones?
Well, I may just ask you with base first.
Yeah.
No.
Please say
Lapless.
How do you your plans?
Well, I mean, the stones already set up.
Ever can be out.
Oh, but there is a way though. There is a way.
Yeah,
there is a way.
Yeah. I don't know.
So let's say white picks up a handful of stones, between like 3 and 9 or whatever, and then black will pick up either 1 or 2 stones, okay? And that 1 or 2 is basically a guess that the 9 or whatever is odd or even, okay? So if they put 2 stones down, then you count them out in pairs, you're like, oh, you're right, is an even number, and then that person chooses to start with black or white.
It can lose the opposite.
No, the advantage gets balanced out by a points compensation at the end, okay? So black goes first, but at the end, white gets awarded 6.5 points normally, which balances out the advantage you going first. That's gradually gone down over years as people have got better or something, or they just figured out the balance of the game as well. Yeah, so you can't do
The gambits like in chess, like you could just start in a similar way each time.
there can be opening moves and opening patterns and stuff like that for sure.
That's about the place, I should say.
Yeah, it is less about it. Like on the 9x9 board, nobody really knows what the best first move is. The middle isn't bad, but it's not necessarily the best either. You just don't have it. It's quite a small board, but I'm still figuring it out.
Yes.
So
These
yeah.
earth points, do they mean anything?
The black ones don't really mean anything other than if the other player has handicapped, then they put stones on those points before the game starts. So you begin with the corners. So if the other player wants a 2-stone handicap, then they'll put one in opposite corner of the black marks,
Nothing.
and then they have a slower advantage because they have their handicap points. And they're just good for kind of seeing what you do. Okay, that's pretty much it. Feel free to ask anybody questions. Everyone's happy to chat. And if we have time at the end, we'll have those full tournament. Basically, the state's part of learning. So, what about it's the fine.
Yeah, you could